Hello, everyone. My name is SpeedCuber. I play on the Mechanists server. I also play in Lunar, Evolve, and Mindwave. And today I'm along with TK. We are going to start a new podcast called Cubecast. And in episode 1, we have Robo5424 as our first guest, and now it's the time for TK to introduce himself.
Hello, I'm TK. I've been involved in technical Minecraft for about a year and a half, and I play on Mechanists, Lunar, and Aleph. As Cuber said, we're going to be doing this thing usually once a week, so you can look forward to that. And now our special guest for the first episode, Robo, will introduce himself.
Hello, I'm Robo. I play on the Prototech server, and well, I'm the guest. I don't know.
So, when did you start playing Minecraft? I guess that's a very important question.
Yeah. I started playing technical Minecraft about 7 months ago. I mean, I played survival Minecraft not that much before that, maybe 4 months before. Started really playing it 4 months before that, and before that I took a long break, and before that I just played mini games.
Okay, so
So to be honest, I'm relatively new to survival Minecraft.
yeah, that's actually super interesting because you are definitely known in the community.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
sort of just went around.
yeah, so is it weird to like uh be like a new player with like someone like, I don't know, Earth, that has been playing forever? Like, yeah.
I guess. I mean, me and Earth just we're friends and we hang out a lot and just play sometimes, even though he doesn't really play. He just plays IDE, as he likes to say. um, I guess it's weird, but to be honest, have only I only knew of him like a few months before I really met him. So it wasn't the craziest thing, and he just really only recently got back into the technical Minecraft community.
Yeah.
So
Interesting.
Have you learned a lot from him and other members of Prototech who have been involved in big discoveries of the game, or is everything you've
yeah,
learned kind of from yourself?
it was really interesting, especially because I was there for a lot of the process of like Curb and Cheater and Earth working on the barrier item, or not item, sorry, barrier block. And that was really interesting to watch them because they figured that in about a week or something. And it was really cool watching them get the actual block work, seeing them trying to work on getting it in creative and them looking at the code. They spent a lot of time on that. They Curb kind of no life that for a bit. Um, it was really interesting to see how things get done. And yeah, they've seen a lot of things, and I've probably learned a lot of things from them. And in general, for being in the community, even though I haven't been in it for the longest time, I haven't. I mean, I've only been in the community for 6 months, but something like that. That was probably some of the most, like, right before I joined to around the time I joined was probably one of the most booming times of TMC, to be honest, from what I've heard.
Yeah, definitely. Like, the past few, like, I don't know, 6 months or so have been crazy. Like this week, Andrew discovered how to get a big spawner in survival in 16, which is insane, of course. And
Yeah.
yeah, like the craziest part about it is that you don't have to do anything. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
it
Like
it just
yeah.
appears in there.
How it works, if you didn't know how it worked, was whenever a buried treasure chest tries to spawn at the same place that there is already a spawner, it pretty much it replaces that block with the chest that was gonna spawn, and then it replaces the blocks around it with the block that it replaced. So it replaces them with spawners. I don't really know why it comes to a pig spawner. Do you know why it does that, Cuber or Robo? Or
I would assume because the base like NBT value or something of a spawner is a pig spawner. So that's why if anyone like if you ever get like with falling block method to get a spawner, you would get the pig spawner. Or in 1.12 to getting the spawner, you just basically resetting the NBT value of the spawner. I'm assuming it just resets the NBT value of the spawner when it goes somewhere else.
Yeah, that sounds about
that would
right.
make sense. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay,
So like, about the
let me break one.
implications though, like, it does it really like have any implication though on the survival aspect for technical servers? Because for me, like, it's cool, but at the same time, it would still be kind of a slow way to get food. So I feel like it would be more just of like a flex than like an actual use good thing for servers. What do you guys think?
I don't think it
Yeah, I mean, they
matters
have a
at
lot of,
all.
I mean, there are definitely a lot of people that love finding these random things. And like there was a challenge to try to find the tallest cactus at one point, I think. Or
Oh
it's just
yeah,
a
that's
thing
right.
that coders like to do. They just like to find these weird things, and once they go on to that tangent, it's really fun for them.
Yeah,
I
but
guess that makes sense.
for like survival, I think it's completely useless. Uh, the thing
Yeah.
is, the way to get it is to look for it. It's literally that. So there is nothing to flex for, you know. So it's sort of a really cool but extremely useless discovery.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And speaking of new discoveries, there was another new discovery recently, which was how to light suppress in 1.12. We knew previously how to light suppress in versions above 12, so 13 and above,
I think it's
because
for
they
15 and above,
thir-
actually.
it's 14. I'm sorry,
It's for
14 and above.
14 and above. Okay.
Yeah, because they rewrote the light engine, and now the light engine now runs on a separate thread. So now it was possible to overload the light engine, and when you load it, or when you overload it, you can stop light updates from occurring. But in 12, since the light engine wasn't on a different thread, you couldn't do it with that method. But recently, Earth Computer figured out how to light suppress in 112. I'm not too sure who helped him with that. I know Curb was in the video, but I don't know if
Curb
anybody
did.
else. Okay.
It
Yeah.
was just him and Curb. The morning of it took them like 30 minutes, or it took like it was fast. It was like the thing about it was like really simple. People had seen it before, but apparently there was someone that said it doesn't, even though you can do this, since the random ticks or something like that will basically make it so it's no longer light suppressed. And the thing that Earth had in his video was something basically you can manipulate the RNG so the random ticks will only happen to one player rather than all of them, or happen to this a specific player instead of to randomly between them.
Oh, I see. I
And
see.
so that allows the other people to go around doing it in survival, instead of it possibly breaking while you're doing it, like 5 blocks, or I forget how many blocks you have to be away from it. So
I,
there's
th-
the random picks.
I think it's a. Okay, so
So
for
in 12, I don't
random.
know if this is the case for 16, but in 12 at least, every tick the game randomly picks a player, and within that or from that player they pick a random block to update within a 5 block cube within them, so in any direction. Um, and
Yeah.
that caused issues with the light suppressing that we were talking about because portals could just randomly get updated that were light suppressed, and apparently people either didn't know or they overlooked this part when they found out about the portals that could be light suppressed. So when Earth was able to kind of connect the dots, it makes it a little more usable for survival because now there's a way to stop it from doing that, and that's with tile tick RNG manipulation.
That sounds so
At least
ridiculous, though.
that's my understanding. I'm not really an expert on RNG and 12, but
I
that's the
mean,
that's what I could get from his
Yeah,
video on it.
yeah.
yeah, that's about all. I can't even say that much more on it myself. I just remember hearing Earth go on, basically say everything about it in his video is all I remember him really saying. But it's really fun, and I think we'll eventually do something like that on Proto, even though for doing the mob farm and everything, you have to make sure you have the RNG grid for it. You have a bat switch or something, so if you have mob for the mob farm or something, that it won't basically crash your server because of the amount of bats that'll end up spawning and going to the nether.
Oh, that's true.
I
Yeah.
didn't even think about that. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. You do need a bat switch.
You need a bad,
But
a
that
bad
should
switch.
be easier in like 12 than it would in newer versions, right? Because it's easier to
Yeah,
trunk load that.
yeah,
In
it should be.
in newer versions, I don't even think
That'll be one of the
it's doable.
interesting projects that I'll be a part of on the server. Because
Really?
I mean, we were working on a mob farm as like we're working on a mob farm right now that's not fully finished, and I guess we're just probably gonna end up replacing it with that, which
So
won't be an easy task, but it'll be something.
Oh, yeah.
overall, do you think that finding out about the light suppressing is a good or a bad thing? Because when it was found out in newer versions, it kind of ruined a lot of farms because if you wanted the best farm, you had to light suppress and update suppress. But some people didn't want to do that. But at the same time, every time someone creates a farm, there's always like, well, you should just update suppress or light suppress, and it kind of ruined a lot of farm designs for newer versions. Do you think it'll have the same effect on older versions, or since
I mean,
older versions are
I
more
have the
developed?
opinion that it's really cool to have that stuff on your server, and I preferably would like to have something like that on the server. But I think that if you're going along the lines of that, you should do more than just that. Like, you shouldn't just do one thing, because I mean, you can having someone design something is really cool and really fun to have, and it's something to prove that, oh, we're not the ones just doing something that's easily created and creative or something like every other server can do. And I think that's where a lot of people are like uh start arguments or something over it, to be honest, are they they really don't like it because it prevents them, so people think it's preventing them from doing more, but at the same time, other people are still would do the other design or come up with other designs for mob farms no matter what.
Yeah. So,
That actually reminds me of like an important subject in TechMC that I want to ask your opinion about. Do you think that when servers build something in survival, that for the most part they have to design it, or do you think it's okay to use other people's designs?
uh I think if you're trying to do something basic, it really does not matter what the design is. But I think if you're trying to do something that you want to show off, or something that you want to be something that you're proud of, not necessarily not proud of if you build something, but something that, like, our server did this, I think that's like definitely something you should do. You should design it yourself. Like if you're trying to get a temporary farm or something up on your server, I don't think it necessarily has to be your design. Like let's say I need trees or I need wood at the beginning of my server or something. It's like you shouldn't have to worry about building your own tree farm at the very beginning of the server. You can go use someone else's for that period of time and then later switch over to one maybe designed by a member.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. Because I know there's some servers that they really don't like building things that aren't their design, even if it's like a temporary farm. So yeah, I think that's a good way to look at it. Is like you can, but you should aim for your own. But at the same time, if like there's a design you can't make much better, then there's really no point, in my
Yeah,
opinion. Other than to just be
absolutely.
different and do your own design. And if you want to do that, I respect that too.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
But what
sometimes
do
I
you think,
think
Cuber?
people are too worried about the rates of things. Like, does it really matter
Yeah.
if something's the fastest on your server
I
versus
mean,
something that maybe you want to design?
for example, you have farms that are super hard to replace, right? So, for example, in 16, we have a raid farm, right? Now,
Yeah.
it's not impossible to make something faster, but it's extremely difficult, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
obviously, Entech did it, right? But doing something like that is like almost impossible, right?
I mean, in the project that Entech did took a very long time. Like I think they were working on it before CCS released this farm, and they just like this week released a teaser for it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So I mean, they achieved it, but at the same time, they spent a couple months on it. So yeah, I mean,
It's,
yeah, you kind of have to put in perspective.
in my opinion, it's the discretion of the members. If they want to, if a member wants to design the raid farm, yeah, you can design a raid farm. Or if you guys want to use someone else's raid farm, go for it. But there's
I
a
think it's
lot of
fine.
people
Yeah.
that definitely do worry, in my opinion, a lot about what farm you're using, if or if not it's made by the members. I think if a member wants to design a farm, you guys should probably just use their farm because they're putting in the effort and everything into using the farm.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, right? Like if you go to the effort to use a farm, even if it's not the best, I feel like yeah, you're right. I feel like they should still build it on the server just because it's something that they even indirectly that the server put time into.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I actually have a question for you. So in in Prototech, you guys have a really crazy contraption to farm shulker boxes, right?
Yes, the shulker shell shucker.
Okay, so
I
what do
like
you
that name.
what do you think about it? And you like can you m- briefly describe what it is to the ones who don't know it?
So you guys understand the like concept in 12 where there's like you send a you kill a mob while it's going through an end portal or something like that to dupe items. There's like the llama. The most commonly people would use llamas or something and put the items in there to dupe them.
Yeah.
Well, the same concept works with the shulker boxes. You killed it while it's going through, the items die, and the entity is still alive on the other side. And that's from what I remember. That's how that works, and it just goes through every single dimension for doing it. And the farm isn't the most ridiculous thing to do. If there's there's definitely a lot of arguments if you want to call it a farm or not or a duper or not. because you're essentially just duping the entity rather than duping the items, and that's how we decide, and that's just how a member worked on it, and how we got shulker boxes, because we need shulker boxes in mass amounts, and
Yeah,
someone
of
had
course.
to decide on how we had to decide some way on how to get it or not.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's basically like an overcomplicated llama dupe, right?
Yes, but
Okay.
specifically for shulkers, yeah.
Yeah.
Even though I believe you could do the same concept, like just to get like sponges, you could put in a guardian whatever
Oh, an Elder Guardian.
yes, that's the word.
Yeah, that should probably work. That's
It just
true.
needs to make sure you don't kill it while it's going through things.
Yeah, exactly. That would be ridiculous, though.
That would be.
That will be a fun thing. Like, it's not even a farm. It's a thing, essentially. So
Yeah, there's
what?
it's a machine, but I mean, there's definitely a lot of controversy from some people if you want to call it a farmer.
Yeah. So what do you think about it? Like, do you think it's fair?
I mean, generally, I wouldn't say it's a farm because it's somewhat of just a glorified duper, to be honest. That's like not just a regular item dupe. Because for most things, we don't want to normally just item dupe. So, I mean, if we can find an alternative in any way in a vanilla game, that's vanilla gameplay. That's what we would like to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because that's as far as I know, that's the only way to farm shulker boxes in vanilla. Like, there is no other way as of right now.
I think it's
Yeah,
like
obviously.
not until 17, you essentially just have to dupe them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because we already have more than enough chunks loaded in the end, and
Oh
to be
yeah,
honest,
absolutely.
we're kind of used to. I mean, we're always losing things and stuff like that, and it's always kind of thing. And like, there are some servers that can do vanilla and not lose those, but at the same time, some of our members some of us can be rather clumsy, and I am a testament to that. I've lost quite a bit of elytras myself and choker boxes.
Oh yeah. What do you do for elytras?
Load chunks.
You load chunks?
You
Really?
don't dupe elytras. You actually
We recently duped elytras for new members.
Okay.
So we've had we duped a total of 3 boxes, if I remember correctly, for elytras for new members and to put into new member boxes and stuff like that. And so we had right now 2 of them were either given to some members that were making new player boxes, and right now I have one in my ender chest, so if we ever have a new player or anything like that.
Okay, so you have like 30% of the elytras in Prototech, basically.
No. You can get a lot of elytras in Minecraft, to say the least. We've probably lost many shulker boxes of elytras over the time, but
Oh,
we
wow.
also people have spent a lot of time flying around to get elytras and stuff like that. It's just not an easy feat.
I mean, you guys made it to the end of the end, right? So
Yeah,
you
the
probably
end world
have,
order.
yeah. So you guys probably have quite a few chunks to explore for free in there.
Yeah, I
right?
mean, it's not even just the end. We have the end portals, like the gateway portals outwards, like to the there. Like so we have a gateway portal to take us immediately to the end world border or into random different spots across the
So
end.
okay,
Um and right now I think I we have a temporary cobble farm at one of them that I built. And other things like that. But I mean, some people I believe have used those to like as a jumping point to go look at somewhere else around the end to maybe get elytras.
yeah. Oh wow.
Like that's a very important thing because every server has their different opinions and they have a little bit of a different play style. And I feel like too many people in the community write other people's opinions and their play styles off as like as wrong. Like it's not even like they can have their opinion. A lot of people just think they're wrong, right? So like there's
Yeah,
people
that's a
who
big
think
thing
like
between modded and not modded.
yeah, I
Oh
mean, but like
yeah, absolutely.
I feel like it's a lot less to do with like modded versus modded and a lot more of just like play styles and like how people want to play the game, right? Some people want to constantly explore the end, maybe every once in a while even reset the end, and some people think that since there's no vanilla way to do it, um, and since it's such a necessary part of tech community and how servers operate, that they can just be duped. And I feel like a lot of people kind of
Yeah,
just write other people's opinions off.
yeah. So for example, in Mecha, we duped Elytras. I think that Alu actually duped like 300k or something like that. Like, we have a stupid amount of e- e- Elytras. And for Shulkers, we use the carpet rule to make Shulkers respawn, right? But in Evolve, we actually use a different method. We implemented a data pack to to craft elytras. So both options are not strictly vanilla, but they are like massively different.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
100%.
some people they definitely go to a different style of how to do it. Mango's Patreon, I believe they have for the elytra they have a rule for a endermite has a 5% chance of dropping an elytra, and an endermite spawning is like a 5% chance of once you throw an ender pearl or something like that.
Oh, they do it
So
with that.
yeah, so
That's
you kill an
actually,
endermite and it's 5% chance. Yeah.
yeah, that's actually quite interesting. It's a different
Yeah.
Yeah.
solution. Yeah,
That server is really interesting in how they've done things. They, from what I know of, they don't dupe anything, and they have
yeah,
different ways of how they want to do things. Like they turn on move block entity for world eaters. They have restock stations and dispensers going by for blowing TNT, and things like that. They have uh husk dropping sands and everything basically. Everything that someone would dupe, they have basically a way around doing that. Like most people would use the sand a sand duper, a like gravity block duper with an end portal for sand or for concrete.
yeah, yeah. I mean, the thing with that is that sand is not renewable in vanilla, right? So you can make the argument to not dupe, for example, the concrete directly, right? Because gravel in 16 is renewable, and obviously dyes are renewable also. So the only non renewable block is sand.
Mhm.
But I
I mean,
feel
the one thing I like about
yeah.
the concrete dupers is the fact that you can make the concrete factories and everything from the dupers that it will turn them into concrete blocks and then put them into a blast chamber to turn them back into like get the items.
And like, yeah, that's really cool. And and I feel like another thing with like playstyles is some people think that different parts of the game are the more tantalizing and the more important parts of the game, right? So some people value getting resources in like a vanilla way, and some people value big buildings, and some people value huge technical things, and some people value like the ability to transport and all these different things, and there's mods to compensate all of them. And I feel like overall people are just too toxic to each other about the decisions that they choose to make, which is kind of ironic to me because they don't really affect anybody, but still people seem to get pretty upset about them.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of people that get kind of rude about maybe someone's decision on a server that they don't play on. Like there are definitely people that have said things like Proto doesn't use what is it called? Flexible block placement or accurate block placement to do any of our things. Like it it's definitely a challenge to not use some of that for like building a world eater or something like that, but it's
Oh
really
yeah.
fun too.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like
And
I've
we
actually
recently just built a
yeah.
800 wide world eater without flexible block placement,
jeez,
character placement,
Oh
or
my god.
that's insane.
That
Like I'm
that
so
will take
used to it
forever.
now that like I could never.
I mean, TK, you like the last world eater you built, you used easy place in it, right?
Yeah, I built the return side, the entire return side in 45 minutes.
Oh my
The
god.
duping side took like an hour and a half. So.
In a view distance world eater, Jesus Christ, that's so
Yeah,
fast.
yeah.
Yeah,
But
so
yeah.
yeah,
one
it's fun
thing that
though
I
too doing it like that.
one thing that I don't really like, and I don't like, I don't agree with at all, is easy place, right? So I think you guys actually enjoy easy place, as far as I know. What do you think
I
about it?
mean, I support people's decisions to use easy place, but I also support the decision not to use easy place because I see like two sides to it, right? Because if you use easy place, I mean, pretty obviously you're gonna be able to build quicker, um, so you're gonna be able to get more progress done. And that goes back to like what I was saying about some people value progress more than I value like the legitimacy, the quote unquote legitimacy of things, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, and for some people, and especially for me, um, I exhaust a lot of brain power to school every day and to different things in my life, and sometimes it's nice for me to not have to think about what I'm doing. Sometimes it's nice just to just be able to place things. It's brain dead, essentially.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
essentially
to
brain
be
dead.
honest, I have another server that I'll play on. Like I'll play on Light Tech every once in a while. It's like, yay, I can use Easy Place, or yay, I can like speed dig and not. I can turn on tool switch and what's the other thing? Item the like it'll switch
Swap.
out the item if it's about to break
Yeah,
and stuff like that.
swap
Yeah,
It's
almost
swap
really
broken
swap
tools.
tools. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, almost broken tools. Like I love doing that, and it's really fun. Like hopping on there, everyone. It's like I just want to mindlessly dig, or I just want to mindlessly place blocks. It's like
Yeah,
those things are really fun.
but it okay. So it makes a different impact when you show, for example, a farm or a build to someone, and you say, "Oh, by the way, no easy place." Like the reaction is different from
Yeah.
the other person. So
I mean,
I mean,
yeah,
at the same point, you can say the exact same thing about any block placement mods. Like as you guys did earlier, I said we built a world eater without flexible block placement or accurate block placement. and you basically both were like, I could never. It's some people just have their different opinions on things, and
Yeah.
to be honest, for me, I think it's the preference of just
That's
how the players want to play on their server.
yeah.
Exactly.
But
And
I
I
agree
feel
with
like a
that.
lot of people, um, I feel like a lot of people like that's really fine. Like if a server wants to use Easy Place, they can use Easy Place. But then there's people who will like hate on them for using Easy Place, which just doesn't make sense to me because like it just doesn't. I will say though, I've built things with and without Easy Place, and building something without Easy Place and finishing it feels a lot more rewarding than building something with Easy Place.
Yeah.
You feel like a little more accomplished.
Yeah. So, for example, I'm building a map art in Mecha, which is incredibly detailed, and I can't work on it for more than an hour per a time, because we don't use Easy Place, right? And building something like that without Easy Place is just the worst. Like it's like it's not really enjoyable, right? But I know that when I finished, uh, it will be like so much more rewarding to finish.
Yeah. So Cooper, do you support Easy Place, or are you completely against it being
Okay,
used?
I've used it. I've used Printer for maps in Lunar. So,
Yeah.
for those of you who don't know what that is, it's essentially holding click and running, and you can place, I think, like 50 blocks uh, at a time or something like that, right? So a map art with printer takes about 20 minutes, 30 minutes or so, and without Easy Place, it's about 2 hours or something, right? So after using Easy Place, no Easy Place, sort of extensively, I think that no Easy Place is more rewarding and more fun for me. But I also think that in certain situations, Easy Place, it's extremely good, right? So, for example, map arts, of course. Give me 1 second.
Well, while he's doing that, um, oh god, I had a question for you, but I completely forgot what it was gonna be. I hate when that happens.
Okay, I'm
Have you
back.
ever used printer, Robo? Oh, Cooper's back.
No,
Have
but
I ever used
go ahead.
printer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have never used printer. I personally don't want to use it, but I know people that do, and they really want to do it. Unnamed person that really wanted to do it.
Let's call it
And
X, okay?
yes, let's call it X. Person X wanted to use printer very badly, and basically it's like, yeah, I don't care if you use printer. If you're on a server that lets you use printer, or if you want to make a server that lets you do printer, all for you. But I mean, that's not my play style.
Yeah, like I, I feel like at that point you might as well just burn the materials and use like Marika to just uh, uh, paste the thing, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know. So okay, uh, what I was saying earlier is that for smaller servers, I think that Easy Place is not a must, but it's like super nice to have. So, for example, in Lunar, at the beginning, it was Luke and Cosme, right? So you can only do so much right? But I
Yeah.
feel like in a server like Mechanists, for example, or like even Entech or Psycraft, I don't know. I think that Easy Place it's not really the way to go. But obviously, if they wanna use it, is like their decision. I just feel like it's not the right decision, if that makes any sense. But
It does, yeah.
yeah, yeah,
I think as a whole, like the toxicity in the tech community is really bad for the entire tech community, right? Even if there's only like a small percentage of the community that's genuinely toxic, I feel like the tech community gets a really bad reputation in other communities for just being a really toxic community. And I can't disagree because like all the time reading public chats, there's people criticizing people's builds and people criticizing for how they play and criticizing mods and criticizing versions and all these things that are toxic. And like new players when they come into the tech community, if you're first greeted with toxicity, what are the odds that you're gonna stay in the community, right? And having less technical players is bad for everyone because we get less designs, less people code digging, and overall we have a smaller community. So I feel like the toxicity kind of needs to stop in the
I feel like
community.
we have like a very, it's like the toxicity is very specific to the game, is because, and stuff like that. But there's definitely parts of the community that are like very not toxic in comparison to like other communities, I feel like.
Oh yeah,
Um,
definitely.
yeah.
it, it's
So
it's both very, it's not toxic in like some of the community aspects, but it's very toxic in the parts where it's so, like my design needs to be better than your design, or why are you playing on this version because I think this version is better. Some people feel like since they are that some their design is possibly better, that it's more worth than someone else's, or someone thinks that they think this version is better, it is more worth than any other version.
yeah. So
Yeah.
for example, when Mecha started back in 2019, like in December,
Was it? Oh my god, that's a really long time ago.
we got
How much I would
a
pay to
lot
be
of
in 2019.
toxicity, because in that moment, I think that only like 2 or 3 servers played outside 12. It was a very rare thing at
Yeah.
the time, and everyone was like super, super, super toxic to us. And I
Oh
feel
yeah.
like that's the wrong mindset, right?
Yeah. Yeah, because it discourages other people from starting servers and all of that stuff leads to like a smaller community and less designs and all that stuff.
Yeah, and nowadays, even Sai wants to update. I'm not sure if you guys will update, Robo.
I mean, to be honest, a lot of server like Proto and Sai like both say they're gonna update, but to be honest, it'll probably be a bit because there's still there's so many things that are still happening in 12. Like neither of the servers will probably ever update until we get Falling Block, which will probably be a while, and that puts some stress on the people that are doing Falling Block, and then everyone asking them, and that leads to a whole thing. But and then some people are just like, I was just chilling out in 12 while they're doing some things, and it's there's a big thing. Yeah, I feel like there's definitely a divide between 12 versus 16, and as well as new servers starting up in even older versions like
Oh yeah,
1.
I
Jurassic new
think
server 1.8.1, I believe, and Pineapple
1.7.
Cakes 1.7.2.
Yeah. So there is actually a small Hispanic server called Historic Craft, and they started in the earliest possible version, which I'm not
really?
sure. Yeah, they update once every 2 weeks or so. At the moment, I'm not sure what version they are on. I
The
think
server maintenance for that.
I think I left the Discord, but they have Bedrock because you can make an Enderman pick it up in a certain snapshot, I think, and then you have to update and then kill that Enderman, and it will drop the Bedrock. They also have spawner block. I mean the item in a certain snapshot. You could mine it with seal touch to get it, and they also have end portal frames. In a certain version, you can use TNT to blow them up, and it will drop. Right, so they have everything basically.
I have a question for you though. Do they update through every single snapshot, or
Every
just
single
selective?
snapshot. Every single
Wow.
snapshot.
That
Yeah.
sounds horrible.
For
That sounds
the
like it
people
would take
maintaining the server,
forever.
and
I think they like
Yeah.
it though.
I would not want to be an admin on that server.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
but even the players having to constantly, because I don't think there's multi-connect for old versions.
I think
Only
it
for like new-ish.
only goes up to
Multi-connect
like
only goes back to about 1.9 publicly, I
1.9. I
think.
think. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so like before that,
Earth is right now working on 1.8 versions, and he's slowly working his way back, but he isn't right now because he was burnt out of it, and snapshots are out right now, so he has to
Absolutely.
work on those.
Yeah. So actually, something interesting is, will they update to the infinite snapshot? The April's Fool's one. What do you
I'm not
think
gonna
about
lie,
it,
playing
guys?
on that exact snapshot would seem really fun. Like
I think
playing
so.
like a
Yeah.
technical aspect on it, it'd be really interesting.
Yeah, but
how do they
also
not get corrupted chunks? They
I,
update all
I
the
think
time.
I think they do. Yeah, and like a lot of them. So
They
the
probably save like those special items like in a bunch of people's inventories and a bunch of random chests and random chunks and stuff like that.
so the thing is, they obviously don't have any mods in the server because, well, they don't exist,
Yeah.
right? So would you call a server like that vanilla or not?
Oh, that's a really
Yeah.
good question.
Yeah,
I mean, technically they are vanilla, but by definition.
I mean,
And
But
okay.
I feel like they would also need to be called like another definition. Like to be honest, like certain servers like Proto and Proto and Psi and stuff like that have updated in previous versions and now up to whatever version they're in now. I like kind of call those like legacy versions because you would get things that you wouldn't necessarily get in other versions or
Yeah,
because they have things that are like legacies and stuff from other. I guess you could sort of call that like a legacy server because they're getting stuff from different versions.
okay. So
Or I feel like that would need a whole other definition.
in my opinion, I think that if you play in snapshots, you don't necessarily can. I mean, it's not really vanilla, but if you play on releases, then it is, right.
Why would you say that?
Yeah.
Like, what makes a snapshot not vanilla?
Well,
Well, because they're a
the
lot buggier and would have things
yeah,
that could easily,
But I
like,
mean,
such as you can
but
get
it's
like Bedrock easier or other things like that.
yeah, but like, how would you
I can
define
understand.
vanilla? Like, you would define vanilla as like an unmodded game, right? At least that's the best way I can describe it.
okay. So to
Technically, vanilla Minecraft would refer to as the newest full released version of Minecraft with no mods or anything of the sorts.
Ah,
So anything in
interesting.
past versions is not vanilla, even if it has no
I
mods.
wouldn't classify that specifically, but that's technically what like the definition is. Like I would still I would definitely still call it Dugged vanilla because they are vanilla server jar, vanilla, no mods, and everything of the sorts. They are like full 1.12 vanilla. But just because they're an older version, I don't think that necessarily doesn't make them vanilla, like a vanilla text server. But
It's interesting. I didn't know that was the definition.
at least that's what I remember from it being. Because Minecraft, like, they specifically, I think they would classify it as like the newest version because it's like has none of the bugs and it's like to the same point of calling it. It has none of the bugs that were previously found and discovered. So
Yeah.
it's like the newest patched version.
Ah, that's actually very
So I think that's
interesting.
why you would basically not classify it as having the snapshots because you can make the same argument. It's got these bugs that no longer exist, like RNG manipulation or
Yeah.
I don't know.
And
Carl warming.
so the thing with snapshots, it's that the infinity update, it's an official snapshot, right? So if you call the snapshots vanilla, you have to call that vanilla.
It depends on. I mean, you're already basically defining vanilla on a loose term, like on something that's not necessarily classified. So it's kind of up to the eye of the holder. So if they decide it's not vanilla to go into what is essentially just a joke update or a joke snapshot, then it would be vanilla just to go into every other kind of like official non-joke update or snapshot. To me, it's more of a like it's the eye of the holder. And since if they believe that it's vanilla there, you kind of like classify it as vanilla. And someone else might not classify it vanilla. It's like the people's reasoning saying, oh, TMC people are hacking because their beliefs are it's not quote unquote like it's not vanilla to have farms because that's not what fits into their definition.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not the way Notch intended the game to be played, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Like that excuse.
I mean, for example, I know that a lot of non TMC players call uh, uh, Masamot hacks, right? Like non vanilla at all. Which, I mean, I think it's fair enough.
I think it's dependent on what you use. Because Proto has like a general rule that you're not supposed to use anything that gives you a explicit advantage in the Minecraft game itself. Like you can use mini HUD because it gives you information that you could find elsewhere.
Okay, so to me, that will rule out Lightmatica.
Lightmatica,
yeah.
but then you could use it. The thing about Lightmatica is it's a schematic of something that you could use as a hold up in another view of the game looking at the farm, and you could just like build it, have layers and layers of it or something.
Yeah.
So it's essentially getting the same thing, but just
yeah,
on
but
your screen.
the thing is, you will have to disable middle click to pick the block in the Lightmatica, and you will also have to disable. Well, wait. That's
You're not. It's like
not allowed.
It's not allowed,
Oh.
but it's still in the thing. It's like you can't use easy place.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm assuming then verifier is not allowed neither.
What do you mean?
So
The schematic
Can you
verifier.
restate that?
a schematic verifier.
Schematic verifier, that is actually allowed because
It
it's
is.
just like an easier way of doing it. That is one thing that is allowed because it's just like verifying it. It's just a faster way of verifying something that you could do elsewhere. It just gives you the information that you could find elsewhere. by spending the time doing it. It's just one way of speeding something up so you don't make a mistake because it's so easy, and it's just a preference to how we wanted to have.
Okay,
Exactly that. It's just a preference.
I don't necessarily like. It's weird to me that you can't use middle click to pick the block, but you can use verifier. Like,
I mean,
to me,
it's
that's
just giving you information.
that's kind of weird.
The thing about the biggest thing is things that would like pull things from your inventory. That is one thing that's not necessarily liked by certain members. It's like, so like tool switch or whatever, and those kind of things that pull from your inventory are kind of like, why do that? You can just open up your inventory, switch it out, and it's like, it's not that hard to do.
Yeah,
you can do that. But schematic verifier is, the difference is you just go by and look at it. And the biggest reason for that is so we don't have to like rebuild the whole thing over again, because we have a thing that or load a backup, because we have a unfinished ice farm, and we call it unfinished because it's technically finished from what I believed. We just don't want to run it because it's fairly certain it'll break.
Oh, damn!
Because it was not used with Lightmatica.
Okay.
That was before we had the Roaring for using Lightmatica.
So, okay, so it was built like by hand, like the old-fashioned way. Damn, that's really impressive.
That's really
Everything's.
Have you built world eaters without schematic?
I personally, no, I haven't.
I mean, I mean, like, think that's like easy though.
Yes and no. It's like defining like the specific places that you want to have them. It's like hard, but once you like find your rhythm of how you need to place the blocks, it's rather easy. Like, there are times I'll probably like I'll like have it at a different layer because I don't need to bother looking at it because I know how I need to go for that layer.
Yeah, like I think that's
a good thing.
I think a world eater is like one of the easiest things to build without Lightmatica. It's like so repetitive, right? So I don't think it's
really
that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very repetitive.
Yeah, I feel like it has a lot less to do with like how repetitive it is, like on terms of like if it's hard to build Lightmatica, and more just the fact that you don't have like that constant, not pressure, but like the constant security of knowing if you made a mistake. So you could finish, take a backup, and then you could make a mistake that you just completely missed, and that could cause you to load the backup or do hours of fixing. And that's another interesting thing. And I think it's XCOM who said this, and someone's passed it along to me, which is that XCOM doesn't like backups because backups kind of ruin the game. And I kind of agree with him. If you load a backup, you completely remove the risk of what you do.
Yeah, and actually, we have the absolute perfect example for that, because we both build a view distance world eater the same week, and we both made the same mistake, right? You loaded a backup and you fixed that in like 5 minutes, whereas I had to use a floor placer, and I think it was like 3 days of work to fix that. Yeah. So, okay, I will agree that the backups kinda ruin the game, but on the other hand, for some situations, like, you need one. So, for example, I'm working on a really big world eater in Mecha, and I messed up twice actually, and we loaded the backup, right? but it was right at the beginning. We, I mean, I messed up again, like in the middle of it, and I have to rebuild like 30% of it, and it was not that fun to be honest.
I feel like a lot of people um can disagree on like all these different things, right? Like if either place is good, what classifies as vanilla, and like all these other different play style and preference things. But I think we can all agree that people need to stop being as critical about judging other people's decisions because I feel like it
Yeah.
really gets to some people. And there's been instances where big names of the community have come out and said that they're leaving the community because they can't handle it mentally. It gets to them. I've had instances where it's gotten to me. The toxicity can be pretty hard to handle. Um, Even if you have like quote unquote thick skin, I feel like some of the things said and just how intense things get over this game um, can really take a toll on people. So I feel like if anything would be learned from watching this, it's that people, while they can disagree with people's opinions, I feel like people need to stop trying to shove their opinions down others' throats.
Yeah. That leads to my biggest thing and how I always deal with people. It's like it's always in the eye of the holder. It's in the eye of the server's decision. And to be honest, when someone starts arguing it about someone else's server, I'm just like, you can. It's like, I get that you're stating your point, but if you're not a member of the server or you're not going to eventually become a member of the server or something like that, it doesn't matter what your opinion is. It's the server's decision. And to be honest, that's kind of how I view most things. It's like when someone's like, "Oh, you're not using such and such on such and such server." It's like, "Are you are using such and such on such and such server?" It's like, "Yes, but does it really matter?"
Exactly.
Exactly.
And yeah, that reminds me of everything. With comparing servers.
Yes,
So
that's a big
uh,
thing.
like if you I don't understand people comparing servers because they're different servers for a reason, right? So I don't
Yeah.
understand people comparing them.
I mean,
Yeah,
yeah.
I had a big thing with two servers I played on that um they even called like one of them called themselves a sister server and they would always compare them, and that was one of the servers who would always compare itself to the other server, and I kind of left the server because of that, because I was really annoyed because they would always say that, and it they would always compare themselves to the other server, and it got on my nerves because why are you comparing yourself to the server? Your whole point is to be a different server. Why does it matter if your thing is so close to such and such, or you think your thing is so much better than this, or just things like that?
Yeah,
Exactly.
I agree with that. Yeah, guys, we reached 1 hour, so I think it's the time for some closing words. So, do you want to say anything, Robo, to the 2 or 3 people that will watch this episode?
Uh, when you're dealing with anything that does with toxicity, to be honest, if it's someone stating something about another server or comparing it to another server or something that they're not a part of, just to be honest, ignore it. Or if you're part of someone that's doing it to another server, leave. That's essentially what I did with one of my servers, and it's an easy way to just get out of dealing with that situation. The amount of time just leaving from whatever thing's happening will actually help you a lot with dealing with toxicity, and instead of getting into it like things, because there's always going to be that one troll that's saying such and such is much better than such and such, and this such and such server is worse because of so. And sometimes the best thing to do is literally just to walk away.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'd have to
absolutely.
really agree with that. I think that was really well said.
Yeah.
Um, for me, um, if you're anybody who made it this far, I hope you enjoyed it. If you have suggestions for us on how to make it more enjoyable, please tell us. If you have things you want us to discuss, if you have guests you want us to have, or even if you want to be a guest, let us all know that. We really will appreciate all of your feedback. Um, and thank you for anybody who watched the entire thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So to close things up, I had a few issues in the past in a server that I'm not going to name, but my solution was simply hit the leave button and problem solved. So yeah, don't let one or two uh, people ruin the game for you. Minecraft, it's an amazing game. You can do anything, and yeah, thank you so much, Robo, for being here. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye bye.